and welcome to the Clock End Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You'll follow us at clockend_talk on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. You'll get us on every good podcast app and YouTube. Each and every week I'm joined by two lovely chaps, and you wouldn't fucking read about it. I actually have the two of them here with me today. Tony, how are you, mate?
Hello. I'm good, thanks.
What the fuck was that?
You know what it is. Yeah, I mean, you say, it's surprising you have the two of us. Like, sometimes I'm not here. I literally just sit here all week waiting for the Skype call to happen. I don't leave the house.
I shouldn't add you into this fucking clowns category, but we better introduce him. Schwinn, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing very, very well. Could be better based on what happened yesterday, but I made it to the game, and that of course, hello, was in reference to the game. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been good, and let's get into it.
Okay, let's do that. Tony, thoughts on the lineup, mate?
All right. I know Schwinn's are the same because I was with him. As the lineups come out, we was just about to get on the tube, and everyone, my friends, other random Arsenal fans, was disgusted with the lineup. So I'm not going to come out because I know the result and know how he played and go, oh yeah, it was a great lineup. At the time, I was fucking appalled. I thought it was horrendous.
Yeah, not what we expected, was it? Schwinn, what was you obviously same thoughts because you were with him?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of very interesting exclusions. Look, Mesut Ozil obviously was someone that we have grown accustomed to when it comes to leaving him out of these big games, particularly away from home. But Torreira, he's that sort of person that we've been crying out for, someone who gives us a bit more stability in midfield, someone who gets the best out of Granit and provides protection. That exclusion for me, despite it being a North London derby away from home, was baffling, and it remains baffling. I'm not quite sure what the thinking was there. We've seen how Guendouzi played and how the midfield operated, and look, in all honesty, you probably don't have a lot of complaints, but you cannot help but imagine that Torreira being in there would have provided a bit more protection. Maybe even throw Torreira in with Guendouzi and Xhaka, with Ramsey behind Lacazette and Aubameyang, which of course Aubameyang was another exclusion that was very, very surprising. But I think Emery wanted Mkhitaryan in there for good reason, and he wanted Iwobi in there, again, for good reason. Not that he had a great game, but he was the only ball carrier on the wing. Mkhitaryan obviously made some very, very good runs from the central circle and was very influential in the game. Again, retrospectively, you can say that the lineup made sense, but in the build-up to the game, we were very, very surprised.
Thoughts on Mustafi right back, Schwinn?
Look, Mustafi is Mustafi. We know what he's capable of. I think, given that he had an all right game.
Don't go too much into Mustafi just yet. Let's just thoughts on right back.
Unexpected.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, defensively, I thought he was all right. Offensively, he was shit.
Okay. Tony, your thoughts when you saw Mustafi there?
To be honest, I thought, especially without Kolasinac on the other side, I thought it just looks like we're trying to park the bus here and hope to somehow scratch a goal from somewhere and then try and just keep them out by having everyone behind the ball. That's what it looked like. Obviously, Nacho's far less attacking than Kolasinac. Mustafi, is not really going to get forward because he's a centre-back by nature. So, I kind of saw it being 7 men on the edge of our box at all times, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. When we did that last podcast, we actually had a couple of questions on, Lichtsteiner. There was a shout out for who else was it? Jenko and Maitland-Niles, I think, as well. So that just completely threw me when I seen Mustafi there. I thought, fuck, you're kidding, no? I don't think anybody's seen it, did they?
I didn't expect it. I mean, obviously, I know he's played there. He's played there before for Germany. He's played there before for us, but only in very short spells, half hour here and there. But I didn't see it. I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, no, a bit of a shock. Okay, we'll roll into this game. So let me look. Talk. I'll let you, Tony, explain the first goal up to Ramsey, but just let us know how'd we come out first 20 minutes.
I mean, I thought we kept it pretty tight. We was pretty sensible. I mean, the Xhaka, the first main incident was the Xhaka tackle at 0-0 on Kane. And in the ground, I thought it maybe was a foul. Didn't really think much of it. And then one of my friends got a text through saying he should definitely have been sent off. I didn't obviously see it until a lot longer after. I thought it probably was a red card, to be honest. And he got away with one. But what was great from our side, and me and Shrum were talking about this last night. I don't know if anyone would have seen it on TV, but there was 2 or 3 times where someone made a tackle. Once was Socrates, once was Xhaka, and then the ball's gone. It's completely off the ball, and they're going to the crowd like, "Come on!" and trying to rile the crowd up, and it made everyone get behind them. Like everyone was on side, and everyone was up for every 50-50, including the fans. We were cheering all sorts of nonsense. We win a throw on, and we were cheering. It was a real committed performance, and that tone was set in the first 15 minutes. Although Xhaka probably was still lucky to be on the pitch.
Mm-hmm. The Ramsey goal, you want to talk us through that 16th minute?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it comes from Kane falling over, which is always fun. Poor by Davinson Sanchez and quick thinking by Ramsey, because he didn't just sprint. He did have to adjust his run a little bit to stay inside his own half. I can't believe they left him that much space. And I've not seen like the clock on it, but it seemed like it took him about a month to get from the halfway line to the moment he had the shot. I personally thought he'd fucked it when he dummied and Lloris didn't really buy it, but it's a great finish, great composure. And I mean, you can't say anything bad about a man that celebrates by saying this is my fucking pitch. So fair play, Rambo.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I was a bit surprised actually that Tottenham had so many bodies forward, and all we just had to go over the top, and away Ramsey went. So I thought it was that I was a bit surprised with that one, Tottenham, but they did seem to fix it pretty quick as well. So Schwinn from the 20 minutes to the halfway, mate.
Can I just get red card? Was Xhaka a red card for you guys?
100%. That's a shocking decision in my book.
Nah.
There's a shock.
Yeah, no, it probably was. A little bit biased. No, probably was, yeah.
I mean, look, we were talking about this after the game yesterday, that it's very clear that Granit is so important to the way we play, right? But he gets sent off at that time, or maybe even booked, and that changes a lot in terms of how we play and who dictates the tempo for us. He has to get that out of his game because he was nowhere close to the ball. And to make matters worse, I think there was someone converging on Kane. Maybe it was Koscielny, it was someone, I don't remember who exactly. But Harry Kane was basically running down a cul-de-sac, and Son had sort of stepped offside, and he was trying to check his run. And at that point, you have to question why Granit went in like that. And I think Anthony Taylor pretty much had a horrible night, or a horrible day rather, but for him to miss that really helped us, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Schwinn, so obviously that second half of the first half, mate, what was your thoughts there?
Tough to watch. I was telling Tony that about the 28th minute mark, I just kept thinking to myself that we need to see this half out. And every minute was passing very slowly. They were bombarding forward. We were put under massive pressure. Didn't really get away, other than maybe one or two instances. I think Iwobi had an attempt, which Lloris made a Hollywood save for. I don't think it was a very challenging attempt per se, but it was one for the cameras. And maybe I think Mickey got in once behind on the right side and tried to play a ball, but that didn't quite reach its target. But other than a couple of instances, Spurs were pretty much attacking us throughout. Iwobi was very bad defensively in the first half. Trippier and Son had pretty much the whole right wing to themselves, and Trippier had some very, very good deliveries, which he sort of lost in the second half, which helped us. But in summation, I thought it was very, very tough for us, and I couldn't wait for the halftime whistle. Of course, that brings me on to the Leno saves, and both those saves, particularly that second one, is top draw. And at the stroke of half, that completely changes your halftime talk. And to be able to go into the locker room with a goal lead, I think was not what we deserved, but what we needed. And obviously, Tottenham came out all guns blazing in the second half, but I think we did well to see out that first half.
Mm-hmm. No, it was good to them saves of Leno. Fucking amazing. I don't know how he'd even done it, so it was good to watch. Tony, half time, and we have a switch up, mate. Guendouzi for Torreira.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a strange one because, I can see why it's happened in terms of, you'd say Torreira's better defensively than Guendouzi, and we had the lead, but I feel Guendouzi could probably feel a bit hard done by. He hadn't done anything wrong. I haven't heard of any injury. Maybe there was, but I haven't heard of anything. So although I could see the reasoning, I thought Guendouzi, as I said, could feel hard done by, that he wasn't taken off because of his first half performance, or not from what I saw, because I thought he played. I'm not saying he's excellent, but I didn't think he was bad. He wasn't the worst player in the first half, that's for sure.
Yeah. What else we got? So then we get into the good bits in a minute. Aubameyang for Lacazette, Schwinn, and then
before we do that, Lacazette had a very, very good chance very early on into the second half.
Yeah.
I thought did much better in the second half as well. He was playing around with Trippier a bit in that sense, and sort of had him on toast a couple of times. Nacho made a very good run. Iwobi found him at the byline, and Lacazette, for me, has to do better. You have to put the shot on target, and if you do that in that scenario, you end up scoring. To that point, Lacazette had a chance very early on in the first half, and in the second and the third minute. The ball sort of just fell to him. Again, it will be coming in from the left. He tries to find Lacazette. Ball gets ricocheted and falls to Lacazette, who sort of just whiffs it completely with his left.
Have you
both
boys,
those scenarios?
Just before you go, have you boys caught the highlights yet on the game?
Yes.
Yes, Schwinn, Tone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. No, that's all right. Now, look, the only reason I say it is the chance with Lacazette. It was a chance, but it wasn't. It wasn't as easy as you say. I thought that was all.
What, the pullback?
Yeah, I thought. Look, it was there, but not the pullback, and the other one.
Pullback has to score.
Yeah,
the volley. Yeah, the pullback he has.
Yeah, no, that one he has to score. It was the other one I was thinking of. Sorry.
But see, even the volley, we've always known Lacazette, or we've always thought of Lacazette as this clinical finisher, right? A penalty box predator. That when he gets a shot off, it takes him a bit of time, but when he gets it off, he's usually good at those. Now he's just outside the 6-yard box, and there's no pressure on him at that point. You have to make good contact at least. Maybe you sky it, but you have to get good contact. It shows a lack of focus. And away from home in the North London derby, you have to take every chance you get. I'm not slating him. I'm just bringing it up because we never talked about it at the top of the show. But the second one, I think, is unforgivable in that sense. You have to keep that on target.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously, so Lacazette went off. Aubameyang come on. You were pretty happy at that point, Schwinn?
Again, that substitution bothered me a bit as well. Look, both those subs that we've spoken about, you could see them coming at halftime because Aubameyang and Torreira were going through a vigorous warm-up. And you would expect pretty much like-for-like substitutions on paper. So I expected Aubameyang to come on. So that miss that Lacazette that we just talked about wasn't the catalyst, I would say, for the sub. It was already coming. It didn't work out for us, did it? If it does, then Emery is seen as a genius. But on the night, I thought Lacazette did well in the link-up play. Of course, he assisted Ramsey's goal. And I thought he was strong in possession. Tottenham, of course, are known for pressing and for known for being a physical team. I thought Lacazette did very well against Vertonghen, against Alderweireld in duels, held the ball up well. And again, I'd say he'd probably feel hard done by as well.
Tony, Mkhitaryan, yellow card, 58th minute, and then you can talk us up to the substitution of Ozil for Ramsey.
Yeah, I mean, the Mickey yellow card, I think Kane spun Socrates. I think Socrates, I've not seen it again. It looked like, from our view, that Socrates might have got there anyway, but it wasn't a bad foul from Mickey. I think it's one of them things you stop him from spinning in behind and there's no real harm done, especially as someone like Mickey, who is very unlikely to pick up a second yellow. The Ozil substitution, to be fair, Ramsey had just run himself into the ground. He I wouldn't say he looked knackered, but you could see it had taken his toll on him, the amount of running he'd done. I would like to see, me and Shrim were talking about this last night, his distance covered, considering he only played 60 minutes, because he surely must have been, when he went at the point he went off, the run the most distance on the pitch. He must have done.
I'll have a look at that. Also, 74th minute, Granite gets a yellow as well. Probably deserved.
I can't even remember what it was for, to be honest.
I think... Oh, no, that wasn't the one on Rose, was it?
Could have been, I don't know. Okay. There was a foul given against him on Rose that never was. I don't know if that was the one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think it was. Yeah, I can't remember now. Rose, we skipped over. We skipped over Rose's, where Rose got booked. I mean, that's a red card every day of the week for me as well. Mate, he was a fucking grubby player yesterday, Rose.
Well, I mean, look, Rose dived twice in the first 10 minutes and the ref waved play on. So there could be an argument to say he could have got 2 bookings for diving in the first 10 minutes. You know that's never going to happen, but he didn't get either of them, and one of them was the most obvious dive you're ever going to see. Then he gets a booking for his tackle on Leno, which for me is a straight red every day of the week. Like, I've got people trying to defend him. Oh, he went for the ball. Okay. So what as long as you went for the ball, you're allowed to kick people in the chest. Like, I don't blame Rose for going for it. I don't think it was a bad tackle as such, but it's still a red card. He's not got the ball. He's kicked the keeper in the chest. If that was a leg, it would have been at least knee height, if not higher. And that's why he's got away with it. If it was a leg and there's a tackle above knee height, straight red every time. But because it's a chest and the keeper's come down low, it's like it brings it into muddy waters, which it shouldn't do. But apparently that's how the rules work now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look at there was the Rose yellow card. Trying to find it now, I can't really see it.
Back post off Leno.
Rose caught Leno. No, I was trying to see what Granite's yellow was for. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Talk us through it doesn't even fucking have it here, useless cunts. Oh, yeah, it was on, what was it? Referee, crunching tackle, Granite, who rolls around on the floor. I know that wasn't the one.
I don't think it's vitally important. With the amount of talking points there are, I don't think it really matters what they got back.
No, I was trying to think myself, because, that other one would have been, could have been a red. Okay, 74th minute. Look, Tottenham level at 1-1. I'll go to you, Schwinn, on this one, and then I'll go to Tony, and we'll all have a little opinion on this as well.
There's a couple of things here. Number one, that Kane is clearly offside, and the referee is in a position where he's just a yard short of the Tottenham players, and he should be in line with the Arsenal players at that point, and he should be able to call it, but he doesn't. Mustafi has his Mustafi moment of the night and tries to get involved in a scenario where he shouldn't. I would argue that Kane was probably never going to get to the ball. I've only seen one replay, so I might be wrong on that. But I think the ball had enough height on it that Kane, even in his full vertical, wouldn't have reached it. The point of contention remains the rule that if a player is offside and a challenge occurs, the foul is still given. Now, there's obviously a lot of snapshots of the rules doing the rounds on Twitter, and that's where I've read it. I think someone from The Telegraph tweeted it as well. If that's the case, then it is a penalty, and the rule has to be fixed. But to my knowledge and to my memory, I have never seen that be the case. It seems like these rules pop up as soon as it's in the favor of Tottenham. I have never heard this before, and obviously there's there's data to support it from what we've seen on Twitter, but it baffles me, and I think we were hard done by. Harry Kane from the spot is as lethal as it gets. He showed his bottle there, but I felt that we were hard done by, extremely hard done by in that situation, and it completely knocked the sails out of my win. 75 minutes, the whole away end was phenomenal yesterday. I've never been in a away end that has been so loud and so nonstop. But that penalty, at least for me, completely killed the atmosphere, and I sort of went into a shell, to be honest.
Tony, your take on it all, mate?
So again, me and Schwinn went for a drink after the game, and I got some tweets through saying, it should have been a penalty even though he was offside because he hasn't played the ball yet. He's not yet offside, so the foul occurs first. And then obviously we saw that doing the rounds on Twitter pretty much all last night and some of this morning. I've seen some tweets from other people. Alan Shearer, one of them, who said and Mark Halsey, who's a former Premier League referee, who said they spoke to the match day officials, as in the team. They're called the PMGOL or something like that, whatever their acronym is. And they've said it was a mistake. He was active, so it should have been flagged offside. So that rule, I think that rule takes place if the players have nothing to do with it. As in, if someone's over the other side of the box and they're offside and you rugby tackle them, then it's probably a foul. The rule is unclear, but according to the matchday officials, it should have been offside. Having said that, it's ridiculous from Mustafi. I disagree with Schwinn. I think Kane would have probably got there. I don't think he was at the best angle to score. And I'm not saying you just have to leave him because you think he's offside, but what Mustafi done isn't defending. That was ridiculous. I was literally 100 yards away because I was at the other end of the pitch, probably more than 100 yards away. And I could see it was a penalty. So I don't know how he thinks he's going to get away with that with a referee 10 yards away. It was a crazy... Well, it wasn't even a crazy moment. It was a Mustafi moment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Schwinn, but I'm going to go with Tony as well, mate. I thought it was a clear penalty. Mustafi... I don't know what he's fucking doing. For me, just a waste of fucking space, that cunt. Like dead set. Not even trying to defend. Going forward, going back a little bit. Look, the Kane thing offside. Yeah, okay, may have been, may not have been. We've all seen the rules. A lot of people have read it. We've seen a lot of experts come out about the rules, but I don't know why Mustafi did what he did to start for that next phase of play. He should have just a fucking dumb moment. So for me, it was a penalty, and they went up. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to apologize to me because for me it's a penalty as well. My only point of contention was whether Harry Kane was going to reach it, and as I said, I might be wrong because I've only seen the one angle.
Yeah.
But if you guys say,
I think he would have got there. But
yeah, I mean, I'll take your word for it. But it was a stonewall penalty. Mustafi just comes in from behind and nudges him to the ground. No ref would not give that a penalty, especially against Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. But for me, look, I don't know whether Kane would have scored it. Who knows? I would have thought he would have got there. For me, that's pretty irrelevant though, because the players continued on and Mustafi's done Mustafi moment. So I know a lot of Arsenal fans are getting hung up on if Kane was onside or offside in this rule. For me, it's irrelevant. Because play resumed, Mustafi done his fucking Mustafi moment, and it was awarded a penalty.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. I mean, that's the fact. That's what happened. So we have to overlook what went wrong. Just quickly, because I know we'll talk about this when we speak about the Aubameyang penalty and where Tongan encroaching. I think we should be fair on here, and we should also say that Koscielny and Socrates were also very much in the box. Maybe not as far as where Tongan was, but they were very much encroaching as well. So
it doesn't matter because
I was going to say the same.
the advantage. So if Kane misses, that's when you see if that rule was enforced. We have no idea if the rule was enforced.
Yeah, because
I
he got the goal, so it's once again irrelevant.
He's not going to score and say, "Oh, you have to take it again because an Arsenal player was in the box." So we have absolutely no idea if the ref would have enforced the rule.
No, true. I don't disagree with that, but I think it's just worth a mention. I'm not saying that it should have been retaken. It's just worth a mention that both those calls were something that haven't quite been discussed equally, at least on Twitter from what I've seen. So I thought it's worth a mention.
Again, it's because we don't know. He could have had all intention of calling it back. So one of them was there wasn't a call to be made. I know what you mean. He was in the box, but they shouldn't be mentioned equally because one, there was no decision to be made, and the other one, there was a decision to be made.
Fair enough.
So I don't know why you'd give a non-decision the same media time or attention as something where there is actually a decision to be made.
Fair enough.
Okay, Tony, talk us through that last 20 minutes after the penalty.
Where do I start? I thought we actually picked ourselves up quite well and got back into the game straight away. I was worrying about suddenly just wave after wave of attack coming and them just having us under the thumb for the rest of the game. But I thought we recovered quite well, moved the ball quite nice. We had a few little breaks. There was one where Mickey played. I mean, I can only describe it as a world-class ball to Aubameyang. And at the time, I just thought it was really well defended. I think he got sandwiched between Sanchez and Sissoko, who are probably Tottenham's two strongest players. And Aubameyang isn't the strongest anyway. And I thought it was just he couldn't really do much. I haven't seen it again. His touch wasn't the best, and had the touch gone straight in front of him.
His first touch wasn't the best, yeah.
Yes, yeah, I didn't really see that at the time. But had his touch been better, I don't think they would have been able to get the tackle in. But the ball from Mickey was outrageous. I mean, following on from that, I mean, I can't remember too much more happening in between. I might be wrong, apart from seeing now us getting the penalty. Okay, well,
let's stop on that penalty for a minute with Aubameyang. So, and just a yes or no from you, was it a penalty on Aubameyang?
Never in a million years.
Schwinn?
Nope.
I have to agree, boys.
And I'm just going to, so my view was better than Schwinn's for this in terms of where I was sitting in the ground because we didn't sit together. And me, my friends, and everyone else around me, random people I've never met, all turned around to each other straight away and went, no, never. Obviously, we'll have it. We want the penalty. But even live, it wasn't a penalty. And even the referee, the way he kind of pointed, and it wasn't clear if he was pointing at the penalty spot or to give a goal kick. And we all even assumed he'd given the goal kick. And then he kind of walked off to the side, but he kept his finger pointed at the penalty spot. So he was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's giving the penalty. But no, never a penalty.
Yeah, no, I was the same. I was thrilled when it happened, but I thought, fuck, that's pretty soft. Like that, the referee, and who was that? Taylor, was it? Yeah. So
he had orange.
Just a fucking shit show, wasn't it? Like that's it. I'm going to let Schwinn talk us through this lead up for this penalty with Aubameyang. Sorry, mate.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about there. I think again, Mkhitaryan did very well. You know, he was under pressure on the touch line. I think he nutmegged Vertonghen to get away and played a very, very good pass to Aubameyang, who I think did well to sort of sell the penalty. I mean, he did sell the penalty eventually. To me, it seemed like he was going down before Sanchez, made quote unquote contact and just made the most of it. The positive there is that we don't have players who do that a whole lot. And in games like this, especially, I don't mind it at all. I'd rather have our player go down in that case than not and win the penalty. In the build-up to the penalty, was I expecting him to make it? I'd be honest, yes. I expected him to convert. He's usually very calm and collected. He's one of those players that, take their time and see what the goalkeeper is going to move and accordingly place a penalty. I am not particularly one that is fond of that school of thought, but if you can pull it off, then you come off looking like a genius. And Aubameyang has that killer edge when it comes to penalties. So I expected him to convert it, but that was just a weak penalty. It was neither here nor there, very comfortable.
It was fucking shocking. Absolute fucking shock. I'll put something this way for a minute, and I'll go to you as well, Tony. So around the table to Tony. If you've got Aubameyang taking a penalty and you've got Harry Kane taking a penalty, who are you more confident in taking the penalty?
Harry Kane, but I don't think there's anyone else in the world, barring probably Cristiano Ronaldo, that I'd prefer to take a penalty than Harry Kane.
Yeah. I just and Schwinn, you in agreement there, I suppose, or you were happy?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I never had a doubt that Harry Kane was not going to convert that.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like he just takes he just hits that ball with so much force and just power, and Aubameyang fucking scratches his nuts, pulls his wedgie out of his ass, looks around, flaps up to the ball, and just I think fucking Jesus, mate, come on. I don't like that approach, Schwinn. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very, very tough scenario. You have to take into account the whole context, of course, and he was probably feeling the nerves, and which is understandable to an extent. Lots of pressure on, and you would expect Aubameyang to score there, but I'd say more often than not he would. It was just very unfortunate. I was fuming at him yesterday. I've sort of calmed down since then and given myself some more breathing room. But it's not ideal, but it's okay. It happens. He's been very, very good for us. And I think I'd rather have him in the team, and I'd rather have him take the penalty over anyone else who was available yesterday on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm not going to drag him over the nuts too much, but it was just so fucking annoying. Like, and I think that's what makes it worse is because he flaps. He just waltzes up like he's in some fucking ballerina show and just boo. And I think fucking if he took it with some power like Kane or or Ronaldo or somebody, I wouldn't mind it so much. But Messi's a bit similar too. He does. It's almost like they show off a little bit. I don't know. Your thoughts on it, Tony?
I mean, I'm going to mass it. I was having this argument with pretty much everyone yesterday, including Schwinn. I don't mind how he took the penalty. He's scored every time he's used that technique with us. When he's actually ran up to the ball and hit it properly, one penalty with us, he missed it. So if he runs up to the ball, tries to hit it with power and puts it over, or the keeper saves it or it goes wide or whatever, people call him a cunt because he's had a technique that works 100% of the time so far, and he's abandoned it in the last minute, and they say, he's bottled it, the pressure's got to him, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, it was a shit penalty. I'm not defending that. But I have absolutely no issue with the way he took the penalty.
Yeah, I do. But that's just different opinions. Like, for me,
if it was the first time he'd done it, then I'd say he's been a complete prick. But when that's the technique that works for him, we see training videos of him, Lacazette, doing it all the time. So that's the way he practices. You can't abandon what you practice.
Yeah, I wish he'd get another fucking. Like I said, I just prefer my strikers or whoever's taking the penalty to just hit that fucking thing with power and make sure it goes into the back of the net. And just flapping around like that, I just don't like it.
I mean, the assumption there is that if
Messi does the same thing too. Like, and how many penalties has he missed?
Yeah, but I mean, Hazard does it as well, and he's phenomenal at it. I mean, just last weekend when he scored against City, was it? I think in the cup final. That's an unbelievable penalty. Jorginho does it a lot, and of course he missed that weekend. But against Tottenham at home, he completely baffled Lloris. Look. The assumption from your argument is that if you hit the ball with power in that situation, you convert more often than if you use this technique. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I would say that depending on what is more comfortable to you as a player, you go with that. And clearly for Aubameyang, it's the stuttering and slow walk up to the ball, much like Hazard, Jorginho, Paul Pogba does it that way. And I think to each their own.
Okay, your man of the match, Tony?
Well, just before that, we've spent ages speaking about this penalty and he's missed it and blah, blah, blah. It should be retaken. I don't even think the most diehard of Tottenham fans can say they didn't get an advantage by that, because it would have been a simple tap-in that the Vertonghen's blocked on the line. So, yeah, shit penalty, blah, blah, blah. But I think we're just ignoring a major rule here. Like he's essentially
the players. Well, let's explain to the rules. So Aubameyang takes a penalty. There was three or four Spurs players inside the box. It obviously he's missed the penalty. It's come back and the defender's probably he could have had a chance, I suppose, to score it the second time, but the defender's
I wouldn't say he could have had a chance. It was blocked off the line.
Well, it was popped off the line. We can't say he would have scored it, but
yeah, I mean we can.
It was a yard from the goal. There's no way
well, he would have scored it. So the argument is that he didn't score it because the Spurs players were inside the box. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically what's happened. But look, I get everybody's rule. I get everybody's got the shits because we didn't get the game, we didn't win it, and that would have tied the win up. Blah blah blah. But how many times and how many games through the season do we see this?
Well, I mean, it was interesting that 3 hours after in the West Ham game, as Noble was running up to take a penalty, the Newcastle players were in the box and the ref pulled it back.
Yeah, that makes it really hard to argue, doesn't it? but
I mean,
week in, week out, it does happen. It does happen all the time.
The ref has watched the Arsenal game and saw the mistake that Taylor's made, so he's made sure he didn't make the same one. Mm-hmm. And I think that's as damning as anything. If another ref, who is, I mean, it wouldn't be ridiculous to say he's seen the game because there was a long time, but it wasn't like he reffed a 3 o'clock kickoff. He reffed a 5:30, so he's almost certainly watched the Arsenal-Tottenham game, and he's watched that and then done something. I think that's as damning as you're going to get when another ref pretty much makes a point of highlighting it.
Well, he's fixed up the error, but you go back, and I'm not saying, look, boys, I'm happy for it to be done again, absolutely. But what I'm getting at is, if it happened to Tottenham, to Tottenham, would we be saying it shouldn't happen again? Because it's happened.
Well, yes and no. I wouldn't be complaining about it, but I still realise there's a breach in the rules.
Yeah.
The same way, I'm not complaining that Xhaka didn't get sent off. I'm still more than aware that he should have been sent off. But
the problem is consistency. There is no consistency is what I'm getting at, and it's happened week in, week out through those penalties. Before this game, here we are in February.
But I mean, that was he was literally 4 yards inside the box. So you put him 4 yards further back from a goal line tackle, he's nowhere near the ball. He's gained a direct advantage. It's not like
I agree. It's a shit. Look, it should have happened. But what I'm getting at is the refs haven't been consistent to start with, so they haven't been consistent from day one.
I don't think you get that much. I can't remember the last time. I mean, even I know we bring up that 2 Arsenal players are in the box for their one, but they were a yard or 2. Still wrong. I'm not saying that the Arsenal players didn't break the rules, but 4 or 5 yards is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And it's a big advantage.
It's a big advantage, yeah, big advantage.
And the way the events unfolded, look, if Iwobi gets the ball in and he tries to put a cross, but it, let's say, hits the side netting and goes out for a goal kick, then you have, then the argument is a bit more weak. But in this scenario, Iwobi puts a ball in, which reaches Aubameyang maybe half a yard away from goal, and if he doesn't have Vertonghen basically just barreling him down, albeit with a good challenge, Aubameyang scores that with his eyes closed. So
just to go with that point, I don't think I would be calling for a retake if Lloris saved it and it went wide. I think that what followed on is the more important point.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but that makes sense, yeah. Because Vertonghen at that point isn't affecting play. And in this case, the way things happened, he clearly did. I mean, this could be a major factor in deciding the top 4 race.
Well, one thing that we can be certain is VAR is going to fix this mess up next season, we would like to think. Now, all these little inconsistencies with the referees, I'd like to think that'd be fixed up. But keeping in mind, you've got to take the good with the bad as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Emery said the same after in the post-match interview, where he said that the referee had a big personality. I think he didn't want to lay into Anthony Taylor, which he easily could have. But he said that the referees need VAR because there's obviously areas where they need help, which is pretty much just saying that the referees can't do their job at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it would have been very interesting to see if VAR would have gave the Kane penalty, because there has been an argument, was he offside, onside? So at what point, I wonder, does the VAR look and go, hang on, he's offside?
Yeah, I mean, the match day officials have said it should have been offside. So if they got the right decision, which you kind of have to trust VAR to do, then it would have been given offside.
Yeah, okay. So
I mean,
we should have won
just quickly,
2-0. If VAR was in, you boys would agree 2-0 score?
Well, I mean, Ashwin made a very good point when I was ranting this yesterday, that I'll let him make it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Tez, you just brought up consistency, but of course that applies here in the encroachment argument. But the bigger point, as Tony always says, is the rule. There's a lot of battling going on between pundits. I think people on Match of the Day sort of argued about this. They weren't sure what was the case. I've seen Lee Dixon talk about it on Twitter. What is the rule? Is it offside? Is it not? From years of watching football, I have never seen this call go this way. It's always offside. If you're offside, you affect play, you're offside. The foul doesn't count. Maybe you guys remember something that I don't. But I have never heard of this rule before. It could be true. I'm not denying that, but I've never seen it being applied like this before. So Tony said this so many times on the podcast that we need more clarity on the rules, and it seems like the FA are happy to sit on their asses and not really try and decipher them clearly. So apart from consistency, which is a major problem, I'd say that we need a bit more clarity in rules as well.
I mean, and also, just because you just asked if we go on to win 2-0 with VAR. No, we probably lose 3 or 4-0 because we're down to 10 men after 10 minutes. So you've got to look at both sides of the coin.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, I mean, the linesman's not given offside because the foul comes first. He was so not in line that he didn't know he was offside. If he thought he was offside, he'd have put the flag up and let the ref make the decision. His positioning, considering it was a dead ball, was not even bordering. It was absolutely embarrassing. Like, this guy's a professional. Linesman's a hard job to see who's offside. There's no excuse for being in the wrong position for a dead ball. If he was in the right position and didn't give it, you can say it's a bad decision. Linesman's a hard job. There's only inches in it, and there's probably 10 or more players in the box. But when you're not in line from a dead ball, you're just shit at your job.
You're saying the linesman wasn't in line?
No, nowhere near it. He couldn't, from his angle, he couldn't have possibly give offside because he was looking diagonally.
He'd be guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be fair, and Harry Kane wasn't the only player offside. I mean, I think I saw an angle that showed that at least 3 or 4 Tottenham players were offside.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at a picture right now. I see I see what you're saying. The linesman's angled over, looking, but his eyes in line. But I see what you mean. Kane was definitely offside. You could probably make an argument for Son.
If it's a moving ball, it's difficult to be in line because the defensive line's moving forward, it's moving back. It's a fucking dead ball. You don't have to worry about anything else.
He should have been up. He should have been up just
outside. Know where the cross is going. You know it's going into the box. So you don't have, there's nothing else to worry about.
So on the photo I'm looking at it, it's showing all these Tottenham players offside. But this is where you're talking about the rule, Schwinn. I want to know at what point are these players then active to be offside?
I mean, Harry Kane is the one who is under the spotlight here because he's the one who's going to contest the ball.
Well, he's
everyone else.
He's the furthest offside at the moment there.
Yeah, I mean, his left shoulder, I think, is the furthest point in that defensive line, right? If he's the one who is going to contest the ball, which is what happened, then he's active. If Harry Kane is onside and the rest of the Tottenham players are offside, but Kane makes a dart towards the ball and heads the ball towards the far post, and someone from Tottenham who was initially offside but then was played onside because Harry Kane ran all the way back to the byline and headed the ball back in, then no one's offside at that point. That's my understanding of the rule. This phase 1, phase 2 is a bit confusing, but that's how I interpreted it. But in this case, Harry Kane is clearly the most offside, and then he goes on to contest the ball, gets fouled, obviously, clear foul. But should that be a penalty? In my opinion, in 10, 15 years, whatever number of years I've seen football, I have never seen that being given as offside. I've never even known that was a point of contention.
You mean given as a penalty, not offside?
Sorry, yeah, I've never seen it being given as a penalty. But suddenly, the rule is a point of contention for some reason.
So you're saying the Mustafi push shouldn't have come into question because he was already offside to start with?
Correct. Now, look, I'll throw a question back at you. If Harry Kane touches the ball, right? Let's say he's getting the ball and he does make contact with the ball and Mustafi fouls him. Does the linesman then raise his flag and give offside because he touched the ball? That's
when I would think Kane would have been offside. When he comes into contact with the ball.
Yes, but I'd argue that even if he doesn't touch the ball, it shouldn't be given as a penalty because he's offside.
Yeah, but he didn't get a chance to touch the ball because Mustafi had his fucking brain fart moment and decided to push him. I wonder, and look, we're only speculating, but I wonder, had Kane hit that ball on his head, scored the goal, I wonder whether the touch judge would have went then offside.
No.
You don't think?
He didn't know he was offside. I think we're getting caught up in a point of would he have given it, wouldn't he have given it. He didn't know he was offside. As I said, they've already confirmed that it was a mistake and he should have been given offside, not a penalty. So it's purely down to the linesman not putting his flag up. If the linesman puts his flag up, the free kick's given to us and all other points after are null and void. The issue is it starts with the linesman not knowing he was offside. The whole thing's been brought into contention because the linesman didn't put his flag up. Because he wasn't in line.
So he should have put his flag up at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a debacle on the old referee. But look, hey, this is the thing with VAR, I suppose. It will come in next year. But as you said, Tony, we could have been down 3-0 by that stage with Granite. So it's going to come both ways. Okay, do you want to do your man of the match, Tony?
I thought Mickey was man of the match again. Him and Nacho probably had 50-50 going into the last 5 minutes. And then Mickey done what he done for the penalty. And I thought he was the only one with a cool head all game. He was the only one that brought us time in the first half when we were rushing. He played some brilliant passes for the penalty. He played that other one to Aubameyang I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, I would go him. But I looked at who scored and their ratings are horrendous throughout the whole game, to be fair.
Okay, we'll touch on them in a second. Schwinn?
I think Ramsey deserves a shout-out here. I think Leno was very, very bad with his kicking, but obviously the double save he made was very crucial. But it's impossible to argue with Mickey, is it? I mean, he was the one making things happen, wasn't shying away from the physical part of the game, and seemed to be the one through which anything would surface at that point. I think he was the brightest spark, although Iwobi enjoyed a lot of the ball, but I think whenever Mickey had possession, he always made it count for something, and I think this is probably one of his better games in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, I think Mustafi was outstanding, absolutely fucking brilliant. He was like the turd in a punch bowl. You just didn't want to know who the cunt was, though. Fucking hopeless, Mustafi. No, I have to give a shout out to Leno. And look, I don't disagree with you boys. Mkhitaryan, Monreal, Iwobi, all good. Ramsey, great.
I disagree with the people saying Iwobi, to be honest. I strongly disagree with it.
Okay, go on.
He had the shitbag first half. His defensive duties, again, I always say this, some people will have better views of certain things on TV than I have in the ground and vice versa. Iwobi in the first half neglected all defensive responsibilities. Trippier was getting in at will. Whenever he wanted to get in down the right, he did. Bear in mind, we're playing a back four, they're playing a back five, so it's not the fullback's job, it's Iwobi's job. And he just didn't bother. Second half, he was very, very good, Iwobi. First half, he was embarrassing. Everyone around where I was sitting was fucking going mad at him, and it wasn't like they're abusing him. It was at the moments when he he didn't track or whatever, but it was so often it just felt like we was moaning about Iwobi for the whole of the first half.
Yeah, okay.
But second half he was very good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, I'd only say Leno because the half-time saves. Look, I thought he was good all game with the shot stopping, but yeah, I just thought at half-time, look, fuck, they could have been up there then. They were just amazing saves. A couple of people have been telling me that if you watch Man United, De Gea does that every week. So shout out to the Manchester United fans. But yeah,
why?
Yeah, that's what I got told today.
Why are we giving shout-outs to Man United fans? We play them next weekend.
Because they listen to this podcast, mate. They're all in the knowledge you'd listen.
Fuck them. Fuck up, you cunts.
Fucking shout out, you cunts. Do some questions because we've got a few to get through.
Yeah, just before we do. So you gave Leno man of the match. Who scored rating? 6.4. I gave it to Mickey. Who scored rating? 7.
Was Mickey our highest according to who scored?
No. Ramsey 7. Nacho 7.5. I don't really disagree with that. Ramsey 7.3. Iwobi 7.2. They gave it to Trippier, who I personally thought was awful on the day. He got in behind at will, as I said, but his crossing was just never hit the spot. And he is usually a very good deliverer of the ball, but just never hit the spot. I think Iwobi, especially second half, beat him a lot of times defensively, and Nacho got round on the overlap, but they gave him 7.9. So
what they give Aubameyang for the fucking 20 minutes he played?
5.7.
Ooh, that'd be the lowest I've ever seen.
Luck is
Torreira got 5.1.
Did he really?
Well, he played about as much time, didn't overly impact. I didn't think he was bad, but obviously he got sent off, so didn't have a huge impact in the sentence. So.
We better touch on that quickly. Red card for you, Tony Torreira.
At the time, didn't think it was. Obviously, from my seat, just saw he got the ball and didn't even think it was a foul. Having seen it back, yeah, but he's unlucky because he's not gone in to harm him. He's got the ball and tried to flick it back into an attacking position for us. And where that leads to his studs being up, I think it is. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person than Danny Rose. The only hardship was it wasn't his face. But yeah, I think he's unlucky, but I do think it is a red.
Yeah,
it's very similar to the Danny Rose one, to be honest.
I was just about to say that. I said Torreira was a red for me, but my problem is with that red for Torreira is the rose on Leno. Is that what you were going to talk about with the studs?
Yeah. I mean, as like I said earlier, if Leno's chest was his knee, then Rose gets sent off every day of the week, and I think that's the difference. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't think the Rose one would have been a red?
No, I think it was definitely a red.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. You, Schwinn?
Again, from the ground, I didn't think it was a red. I didn't even think it was a foul, to be honest. But having seen it again, I think it's clearly a red. I mean, to Torreira's credit, he gets the ball, but in today's game, studs raised that high, you make contact with the shin, you probably are going to get sent off. I'd say the Rose challenge on Leno is a bigger red, is more of a red than Torreira's. I think to go in like that, again, with your studs raised, is more dangerous than what Torreira did. So I think they're both reds, and Rose should have definitely been sent off as well.
Mm-hmm. Fucking grub that fucking Rose. Can't stand him. He's my new player I hate now. Okay. Alrighty, lads. We'll get into some questions. Chip, he's back with us again. Are we going to go around the table? Am I just going to rattle them off?
Around the table.
My phone screen is fucked, so if at any point I can't read the questions, it's because I can't see them.
And about time you update to an iPhone, mate. Fuck these things.
No, I've dropped it. I've dropped this phone so many times. I'm not even sure how it's still a phone.
Fair enough.
You shouldn't see it. It's like a disco ball.
Well, me and Schwinn can rattle off some questions there.
No, I've got them, but if at any time I say I can't do them anymore, it's because I can't see them.
Okay. So I'll read the first from Chip. Mustafi is not a right back. Defended poorly and crosses were pathetic in attack. Hard to argue. It wasn't really a question, was it? Xhaka is lucky he did not see a red in this game. Very grubby player. Hey, fucking settle down. Actually...
Again, hard to argue. It's correct.
Hard to argue.
If there's one way to prove you're not a Tez Burner account, it's to criticise Xhaka.
Well played, Tez. Well played.
Fuck off, guns. What was I going to say now? You've thrown me. There was a stat running around about Granit. I don't know if it's still up there, the most fouled player.
Most fouled?
Sorry, most carded player.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's still floating.
To be fair, we kind of glossed over him. I thought he played very well yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he got good. No one shouted him out. But I didn't want to be biased, so I just let it go.
His leadership qualities also shone through yesterday. Tony, of course. See, when someone else is praising him, let them, because as soon as you do it, then I don't feel like doing it.
I'll shut up.
Tony, of course, mentioned that everything was getting cheered extra loud yesterday. Again, shout out to the away fans. It was fantastic to be there yesterday. But Mustafi was playing in a makeshift position. Whenever he was able to wriggle out of situations and find Granit or someone else, I constantly saw Granit looking towards him and motivating him, giving him a thumbs up. I think Tony mentioned to me that there was a point at the very end of the first half where Leno was trying to play a goal kick short, and Granit was, yelling at him that no, kick it forward. There's 30 seconds left, pointing towards the clock, and just get it out there, see this half through. And those things are vital. They're very obvious to a spectator, but in the heat of the moment in the game, you might not think of it. And experience comes along with it. And it shows that Granit has now, of course, become almost a senior player in a lot of ways, especially at the club. And those things are important. Those intangibles are important. And you might not see that on the telly, but on the ground, you can tell that he's important, whether it comes to him being an important part of the team or when it comes to these peripheral portions. So, yeah, he did have a very good game yesterday.
That was fucking great to hear that. Keep going, mate. I was just listening to that.
No, I'm done.
Sure.
To be fair, just after that as well, just that, again, game management is always one of the things I criticise us for. And I think Leno played the ball long and it kind of broke out and there was a 50-50 in the middle of the park. And instead of Xhaka trying to play pretty and keep the ball because he obviously knew how long was left, he just smashed fuck out of it. Like, it went into the upper tier of Wembley. And everyone cheered because that's what we miss, that kind of game management. So usually people that load of shit, he's just kicked it anywhere. But there's a certain time to do certain things, and I think Granit is usually very good at recognising that.
You see that ball he put through to Aubameyang? Late in the second half. It was probably about 5 to go, I think. Brilliant ball.
I think it was Ramsey who he played in.
No.
Or was it Aubameyang?
It was one to Aubameyang. Yeah, right at the very end there. That's all right.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Nah, you don't see.
Yeah, unlike you, Tez, we're watching the full field of play and not just Granit out there.
Fucking queer cunts.
You're the one wanking to him, and we're the queer cunts.
Well, I was right in the middle of it then at that point. Yeah.
You paint quite a picture.
Okay. Chip says, yes, we got the draw, but I'm so angry right now. Chip, he's fucking must have come out straight after the game. I'm done with Aubameyang and his casual attitude. Sell him in the summer. Fucking hell.
This one goes to Tony.
At this point, are you still maintaining this isn't you?
No, this is not me. I do not want to sell Aubameyang. I was actually going to buy Aubameyang's shirt next year. I don't want to sell him.
One doth protest too much.
Here's Tony, Adam Cobb, Aubameyang poor, Emery deserves better. What's that one of mine too, is it?
No, I mean, that one's probably not pretending to be Australian and whatnot.
Jesus Christ. Fucking hell.
I mean,
sorry, Chip. See what I've got to put up with every week, mate, with these clowns? Sorry.
You realise you're talking to yourself at this point, right?
Sorry, Chip. Right, go on, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if saying Emery deserves better is... I suppose it's probably fair, because when he's let players, or we feel he's let players down, we've said they deserve better, but I feel like it's a bit of a stupid statement.
Okay, Schwinn, you want to read the next one from David?
From David, yes, utmost certainty. We still played well. Do you think we're still looking like we are improving under Emery overall? Go on, Tez.
It's so hard to tell, isn't it? Look, I think we are improving a little bit, but for me, it's just the changing the tactics. I still can't tell you boys what Emery's plan is every week. I don't know if we're an attacking team, if we're a defending team, or we park the bus. I don't know. I don't know what type of team we are. So that, as I've said a couple of times here, that does worry me. I have noticed players improving under Emery, though, which is, yeah. So I think he's doing something there. But as a team as a whole, and then that game against Bate, like, it was only, 3 weeks ago, and we're all fucking cursing him, saying, how'd we lose that? So things like that, it's hard to get a gauge on. Tony?
I mean, look, improvement happens over a long time, not 2 or 3 games. Have we been better in the last 2 or 3 games? Most certainly. You can't argue that. Have we improved? Asking the month. Well, a month's probably a bad time because we've hardly got any games. But I don't want this to happen, but I don't think any of us would be majorly surprised if we had an absolute shit show against United. So I don't think you come now and say we've improved until this is consistently our level, instead of these one-off games. We played similar against Liverpool at home. We played very well against Chelsea at home. But again, at them times I didn't say we'd improved, because you can't judge that on one-off performances. We do seem to be doing better against the so-called biggest teams. So you can't really moan about that. But to say we have improved, I wouldn't say that yet.
Okay. Clay Co. Conservative says, fuck Taylor. I think we all agree, Tony. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got the questions up if you want me to.
Yeah, okay. MAA Gunner, mate.
Yeah, so Tottenham looked clueless until Pochettino showed his dick to the linesman and distracted him from seeing Kane the fucking pussy offside. Mustafi didn't even need to touch him, but Uber, though, if he doesn't score a hat-trick in every game until the end of the season, then the world is over.
Schwinn?
What shall I say? I mean, it's a comment, isn't it?
Keep going, Tony.
Yeah, so Kane offside for the pen, Vertonghen being over the line before Uber took the pen. So again, not a question, and we've kind of gone across it. Sandeep Singh, so I'll carry on because I haven't had a question yet. I watched Bird Box and it was much better than the North London derby. Mustafi is an idiot, and I knew Uber was going to miss the penalty. Well, because you didn't watch it, you've probably already heard. So yeah, standard. Body language didn't look good and the penalty was poor.
I mean, to be fair, I couldn't really tell from the body language. I thought he looked okay. I mean, I wasn't close enough. I was on the same side of the stadium. But, I mean, Tony, you probably had a better view of his body language, so to say.
Difficult to tell, obviously, because body language is something you need to be able to see facial expressions and stuff. And no fan's ever close enough for that. I was annoyed it took so long. This isn't an Aubameyang fault. Sorry, Watford have just scored a last-minute winner against Leicester. I wasn't. It's not an Aubameyang thing, but I was disappointed it took so long because it wasn't like there was an injury. I don't think Sanchez got booked for it. So I think the ref has to control that situation and let the penalty get taken pretty quickly. Trippier was yapping in Aubameyang's ear for ages, and all of that doesn't help. So for me, that's a lack of control to an extent. But I wouldn't be able to tell on body language. I don't think it looked brilliant when I saw it back on TV. but I didn't. There's no way anyone could, or I could say I saw that at the time.
As Chip said, I am so angry right now. I'm done with Aubameyang and his casual attitude. Words of the wise man, Chip.
As you said.
Yeah.
Fucking
So you are not doing yourself
quick,
any favours here.
You realize that as the host, you can just ask us whatever, right? You don't have to add to the question thread.
I know that. I usually do ask whatever.
You've got our phone numbers. Just WhatsApp us. It's fine. You don't have to wait till the show to get an answer. You can just after the game. You could have just messaged me and I'll answer your question. It's fine.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'm gonna fucking cop this. Thanks, Chip.
All right. I got the next one.
Yep.
All right, says Vish says, I cannot follow the manager's game plan nor the player performances. Emery got his tactics spot on. Would you go with the same game plan against Man United next week?
What was the game plan, though? Was it to throw out a shit lineup and then bring Torreira on at half-time? Like, I don't know if that was...
Well, let's be fair. I think that's taking away some of the credit from the players. I mean, look, Tottenham are a very good team. There's no denying that, as much as it pains me to say that. But I think we soaked up pressure very well. We were very solid in the air, and for pretty much all of 90, we didn't really let them get a look in. They, I think, had 2 shots on target in the second half, maybe. So there was a game plan.
They had one.
Be strong.
Yeah, but I'm going on what was Emery's plan starting from the lineup. So
counter-attack.
Well, that's what I was going to get at. But so Emery's plan at the start was obviously, as Schwinn just said, counter-attack. Mustafi at right back. But then, we go into the dressing room 1-0. I can't see... He obviously didn't have faith in Guendouzi, and I agree with what Tony said earlier. Torreira is the right player to bring on. So I would like to start with an Ozil, though. For me, other than that, boys, I don't really know what his game plan actually was. As I said, I'm so lost on Emery and his game plans and tactics. I don't know what he does each week. So if we go into this, what are you saying? We're going to play counter-attack against Man United.
I think that is what Vish is trying to ask, yeah.
Yeah. Will it work? I don't know. I watched the Man United Southampton game last night. I thought Southampton were very good. Man United were lucky to win that, but they pretty much played counter, but it was a lot down to Redmond. So,
What are your thoughts on this, Tony? Do you think we should be protagonists, or do you think we'll probably go with the same plan?
We won't play like that at home. I don't think we'll play like that at home to anyone. I think it'll be like more Chelsea-like, where I'm not saying in terms of players and whatnot, but Chelsea, I would say we were still an offensive team, but more cautious. Whereas Tottenham yesterday, as you said, we were a counter-attacking team, and quite. It seemed like our focus was don't concede or don't give away a sloppy goal, and if we can score on a break or create some moments of pressure, do that. Whereas I think, as I said, Man United, I think, will be careful, but not a sit-back type of team. I mean, most of the first half yesterday, we didn't have any players in their half, or we had someone maybe 10 yards in their half. I can't see us playing like that at home to anyone, really.
Okay. MAA Gunner, he says, can everyone who's listening to the podcast, so all you hundreds and thousands of people out there, he wants you to tell all the players how proud we are of them. I really want them to know and keep the level up until the end of the season. There you go. No, Tony?
Sorry, there's a thread here between Hakon and you. So I'm just trying to find where the...
You don't fucking me. I wasn't even on this question thing.
So the original question is from AFC Tez. Four
Off, cunt.
Four penalty Aubameyang. Mustafi, I hate you. Clear penalty on Kane, who was offside. Torreira red was a red for him being unbiased. Question: Emery, what positive was that starting lineup?
Is this for me or Schwinn?
Well, I mean, you asked it, so probably Schwinn.
Fucking hell.
It's tough to extract positives. I'd say, I think as a unit, we were set up very well. I think in the air, we were very solid up until the point Llorente came on. And of course, they had a bit more domination in that department. I thought there was a lot of communication in the team. I could see players looking at each other and making signals and yelling to other players, motivating them, of course. I think there is solidarity in the team. And I think despite the last 2 months, which have been very shaky, there seems to be belief in the manager. This is, of course, just a gut feeling. I'm not going off of something I've read or someone said, but it just looked like it could also just be the North London derby, to be perfectly honest. But in terms of the lineup, it's that same thing that Emery isn't scared of changing things. Sometimes they work to our benefit, sometimes not. Yesterday, I think it was one of those days where it worked to our benefit, despite leaving players like Torreira out, who I think would walk into the team on any given day. I think Emery is learning the league a bit more, and he understands the weight of the North London derby. I don't think he's got his subs correct yesterday, but he might have been forced to an extent. But there's not, I don't really think there's positives as such. I mean, the goal scorer, who obviously owns Wembley, is off in the summer. And I can't help but look at that situation and question why are we not keeping him? I think it's an obvious thing to do. So it's a strange one, because the performance, as Chip said, was good, and as Vish said, was good from the players and from Emery. But the positives, difficult to really spot them out.
MAA Gunner, quickly Schwinn, I'll just read this. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot, who's a listener of the podcast, better change his Twitter name. Fucking hell.
Looks like he's going to be the one who's going to be getting attacked by MAA Gunner now, and not me.
These lads
Well, with a bank on it.
No, you're an easy target, Schwinn.
Apparently.
Go
All
on,
right,
mate.
I'll send the next one towards you.
Yep.
This is Hakon Larson, of course, another regular listener. We should have bared our chances, Laka and Alba, and then have sealed the game. That's on us. But the fucking decision's a disgrace. Stevie Wonder as linesman is a joke, and his co-worker as a ref ain't gonna cut it. VAR cannot come soon enough. The refs need help. So again,
look,
not really a question, but yeah.
I'll touch quickly on the VAR. Be careful what you wish for. Because a lot of people, and I know you boys haven't really experienced VAR as much as me. I'm watching in the Serie A. I've got it over here in the A-League, and it is a fucking shambolic shambles. So I think next season will be very interesting with the VAR coming to the Premier League, and I think it'll be interesting to see what discussions we actually have. Because if it's anything like the Serie A and over here, it's a discussion every week, is how the fuck did the VAR fuck that up? So I hope I'm totally wrong, and I hope the Premier League actually, and we've said it before, Tony, I hope the Premier League do it similar to they do on the World Cup, because I think that will be a better way to use the VAR. I think the A-League is starting to roll it out, but the problem is with the A-League, it's just a poor league and can't afford the amount of cameras and whatnot. So hopefully the Premier League have learnt and watched other leagues around the world, and well, they're probably the last to adapt it, aren't they? French League haven't got it. Bundesliga's got it. Spain, they don't have it, no.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Spain do it. So yeah, okay. So the Premier League is the last of the leagues to have it. So maybe they've learnt and watched the other leagues. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see though, boys.
Yeah. On to the next question, which is Gator Guna. Laka missed 2 chances. Uber missed a penalty. Shit happened. What was the tactical defensive change that made us look defensively sound? Please tell me Mustafi has gone after this season, tired of his mistakes costing us. It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Mustafi needs to go. I think we've said it enough times on the podcast that he's not good enough. I think he has some positive qualities, but for a club like the Arsenal, I don't think he's good enough. And to be fair to him, I think he was all right on the right yesterday, better than I expected him to be, but still nowhere close to where he needs to be. As for the tactical defensive change, I think we were just committing fewer bodies forward and committing bodies forward when we thought there was something to gain from it. We were very cautious in that regard, which, to be fair, is how we should be against a top 6 side away from home. I think the exclusion of Kolasinac, whether that was forced or tactical, was also with that in mind. And even someone like Guendouzi yesterday, I thought was very disciplined, or more disciplined than we've usually seen him. Again, not running forward at any given opportunity. He was calm, collected. So I think that was a direct, what's the right word? Directive, perhaps, from the management that we were, we had to be careful in how we committed bodies forward and give the opposition the respect that sadly they deserved. So I think that's really what comes to mind, unless you boys have something else to add.
Nope.
I would agree with you. I think it's mainly personnel. I mean, if you look, everyone knows my views on Lacazette not being a proper number 9. I think it's 9.5 if that exists. Iwobi is not a running behind type of winger. Again, Mkhitaryan wants to come short and get the ball to his feet. I think the only player on the pitch who runs away from the ball in general is Ramsey. So naturally, you're going to have more players deeper, which means there's less space to play into. So I think that probably played a huge part in it. Again, we had one fullback on the right who was never going to get forward because he can't. Nacho can get forward, but I think he's probably one of our most sensible players, in that he understands the moment better than most of our other players. And I think he understood that, especially in the first half, he didn't need to go bombing on. I think he picks his timings very well, usually, Nacho, and I think he understood that yesterday. So instead of having a back four with 2 fullbacks that are bombing on, we had 2 fullbacks staying at home. We had Xhaka and Guendouzi, who Schwinn just said, sat deeper. Iwobi and Mickey aren't naturally in behind players anyway, and neither is Lacazette. So I just think by nature we had more people in defensive areas.
Okay, Hakon Larson, not Mickey's biggest fan, but we had a very good game. Passing, dribbling and work was top-notch today. Hope we can keep this up, and if so, we can make a difference in the rest of the season. Pretty much just a statement. Iwobi had a good game today, Tony. I, as usually, think he was running around like a headless chicken. Here's Tony's burner. And just mentally fades away, but he was able to work hard, create some danger. Hakon Larson.
Did you not listen to the bit earlier where I said he was a disgrace in the first half? Did you miss that? Honestly, no, to be fair, I know
I said Hakon's fucking agreeing with you. He said he runs around like a headless chicken.
No, but he also said Iwobi had a good game. He said, I usually think he runs around like a headless chicken.
Oh, yeah.
No, there was messages coming through after the game like, Iwobi up there for man of the match, and we were still in the ground at this point, and someone sent me a screenshot of, I think it was a BBC headline saying Arsenal fans hail the Nigerian Messi. And we were sitting there literally, and this is random people I've never met before sitting around me. So I was sitting with 2 friends, and then everyone else is complete randoms. And we was all sitting there like, what game have people watched? As I said, he was very good in the second half, but the first half, I wanted to kill him. Like, it's defensively, it wasn't a lack of effort. He was aware of where he was meant to be at any time and didn't track anyone ever. Even so he wouldn't track Trippier, so Nacho would swap with him and Nacho would take Trippier, leaving Sissoko free, and then Iwobi didn't track him either. And you're just like, do something. It was painful. But yeah, in the second half he was good.
I'll just ask you quickly, and I'll ask you too, Schwinn. If somebody knocked on the door with 30 million for a Wobie in the summer, would you sell him?
I'd drive him.
Fuck, I didn't expect that. There goes all our African listeners. Schwinn?
I'd help Tony drive him. I'd pay for gas.
I'd push the car. Yeah.
Well, if I'm paying for gas, you don't need to push the car.
Mate, I know you don't pull your fucking wallet. I know.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, Tony, fuck off.
He told everybody on the podcast last week. Didn't you listen?
I should actually have thrown a question as well. That who paid for dinner yesterday, Tony?
What's your sister's name?
Oh, fuck off.
Has he taken you to Heston shit, Tony?
Did you? I don't know. No. Did you go, Schwinn? This is a really boring podcast conversation. We can do this after.
No, I'm going on Thursday once I'm back from Scotland.
Okay. Are you going with him? No, all right. We'll talk about it later. Oh, fuck. Here we go. Hakon Larson. I have concerns about how the ref is doing their job and stay professional. They must have some sort of meeting, etc., where they discuss games, mistakes and players. I find it so weird that they just keep doing the same mistakes and being so arrogant. Do you know anything, Tony?
Well, I mean, first off, they have meetings with every team at the start of the season, and I think, I'm not 100% on this, they have a top-up meeting during the season. And what annoys the players a lot is, so say, for example, Mike Dean, just to pick on a ref, can come in and say, this is the rules, this is how we're going to play by ABC. And then when himself doesn't play by that rule, they're like, hang on, we had you personally told us that this was how things were going to go. But, I mean, they also say a lot of stupid things. So I know one thing that they say every single year. I'm not sure if I've said this on the podcast before. So players get told every single year, if you go into the corner and hold the ball, the ref will blow up and give a free kick to the other team straight away for endangering players. Ridiculous. And it's never, ever, ever been enforced. But players get told that at the start of every single season. And again, that's what causes the frustration. I know when Czech had a go at Mike Dean last year at West Brom away, it was because Mike Dean had done the Arsenal meeting and he'd said handball is only if it's going to be deliberate. And then at West Brom away, someone kicked the ball at Chambers from about a yard and it hit his arm, which was down by his side. And Mike Dean gave the penalty. And Czech was like, you yourself, like not one of your colleagues, you personally told me that the arm has to be away from the body and blah, blah, blah. And none of them things are in play. So they go to start the teams every year. They don't really keep up with what they say. I believe, I'm not 100%, I believe they have meetings sort of every 6 weeks to 2 months when they have a spare week between the referees to look at examples and where they could have gone better. But it's more of, for me, it should be a blame game. You done this wrong. You need to do this better. But by all accounts, it's a how can we improve on this in the future? So as much they don't bring up someone made a mistake. But for example, so they'll look at Harry Kane's penalty yesterday and they'll say, in future, how can we deal with that better? They won't go, the linesman's made a massive balls up because he's not in line. Because you can't blame him. I thought Taylor was horrible. You can't blame him for that incident. But they won't pick on that linesman and they'll go, in future, what can we do better, blah, blah, blah. For me, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. But obviously, my opinion isn't really important.
Yeah, just is there, look, because I've obviously we got the rugby league NRL over here, and there's a referee's boss. So if a referee fucks up during the week, he might even get sat out or something, and he fronts the press conference and says this and that, this is what happened, blah blah blah. Now he's been suspended for 1 week because of this mistake. I don't see that much in the Premier League.
No, there is. Okay. There is.
Okay. So I might be just in media.
The refs ref without using their brain. Like when the Leicester owner died and Damari Gray lifted his shirt to say thank you, Vishai, and he got booked. It's because they're being assessed at all times, and by the letter of the law, that is a booking. But I can't remember. It used to be Mike Riley, the head of the referees. I'm not sure who it is at the moment. I can't remember. It might still be Mike Riley. I don't think it is, but I can't remember who it is.
Do they come out with press conferences each week?
No,
No.
No press conferences.
So the media don't really hear much from them?
No, nothing. We just hear if a ref's been demoted or whatnot. But we hear the end line, basically. They do a report, because even when I played Saturday League at a shocking standard, because we was in an FA League and conceivably, if we got enough promotions, would have been in the Premier League. We had to basically follow all of the same rules, but obviously with the Premier League, they send an assessor to watch the ref every week, who sits up in the stands. With obviously them lower leagues, and I'm talking way low, you have to assess the ref yourself, but you use the same standards, the same checklist as what they are supposed to use higher up.
Do you think it'd be better, obviously, and this is all going to change next year with VAR, but it's still going to be different little things that come about. You as a fan, because it wouldn't happen here in Australia with the media, I don't know if it'd happen with Schwinn either. Would you like to see the media come out once, the referee's boss come out once a week and talk to the media about different mistakes and things to know that they're fixing it?
I would love to see, and it's been a case for ever since I can remember watching football. I'd love to see the referee do a post-game interview in the same way that the managers and one player from each side does. If they even if they've made a mistake, and if they come out and say, you know what, I hold my hands up, didn't see it, or got that wrong from my angle, I only get one look, I think there'd be a lot more like, okay, it's a shit decision, but you can kind of, you know what I mean, he's human.
Yeah.
Where it's just this, we don't talk, it gives you the impression that they feel like they're always right. Even if they might be sitting at home thinking, I fucked that up. But because we don't hear that, we just feel like, oh yeah, they're going to stand by him and say he's got the correct decision, especially if they don't get demoted and whatnot. Because you're not going to get demoted for a minor decision. So it just feels like everyone's backing them making the wrong decisions. Whereas, as I said, if they come out in every game, and if they should come out if they have a good game as well and get the praise, I think it should work both ways. But if they come out after the game and say, and give the reasons why, and sometimes you might not agree with them, but you can go, okay, that makes sense. I don't agree, but I can understand where he's coming from. At the moment, we're just left guessing. Yeah,
like the Harry Kane offside. We're all guessing. Schwinn, you want to go for it, mate?
Sure. This is a comment, but I'll sort of turn it into a question because I know Tony's answer, so I'll throw this to you, Tez. First part is the comment, of course. If De Gea had made that double save, it would be National De Gea Day at this date every year from now. Leno did very well today. The second part, which I'm going to turn into a question, is would you have taken a point before kickoff?
If you heard my last show after the Bournemouth game, I did say a 1-1 draw.
So you would have taken the point.
But then Tony pointed out Tottenham have never drawn this season. So do you want to change it? And I said it'll still be close, but if I have to change it, I'll go 2-1.
So you was wrong.
So I said 1-1 draw. You twist the arm, put a gun to my head, made me change my mind.
Hey, if you're a weak man,
look like a fucking idiot.
If you're a weak man, stand there and be weak. For one comment from someone 10,000 miles away makes you change your mind.
No, I did say 1-1. I'd be happy with a draw when I did the podcast, but yeah, as I said, I did change it to 2-1. So yeah.
All right, let's move on forward.
Oh, we guessed yours too. I think we said 6-3 or something. It was something ridiculous.
No, I mean, to be fair, we talked about this yesterday, and I said I wouldn't have. I mean, I think a derby day, although it's a decent result, I think this is a game where you have to go in to win. Obviously not lose, but I think I fancied our chances yesterday, so I wouldn't have taken a 1-1 before kickoff.
Do we want to draw Fulham-Chelsea, or are we looking for a Fulham win here?
Fulham win.
Yeah, ideally a Fulham win. I win quite a lot of money if they don't, but I mean, yeah, ideally a Fulham win. Fuck money.
Fuck money. Okay, where are we up to?
I'll go. So MAA Gunner, we can't go too hard on Aubameyang. Penalties are 50-50. They're not. And we wouldn't even be in that position without him. I agree with that. Hopefully he bangs some in next week, pulls out a Wonder Woman mask and twerks in front of Lingard. Weird flex.
Weird flex for sure. Also, Wonder Woman doesn't wear a mask, does she?
Pass.
Yeah, she wears some little fucking thing, little eye thing, doesn't she? I don't know.
I ain't got it.
No, she wears like a tiara, but that's about it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we're not up on Wonder Woman, you can tell that.
I'll carry on because that wasn't really a question, and I can see Schwinn's name in this one, so hopefully it's abuse. MAA Gunner. Kane should be suspended. Pochettino should have been banned from the touchline. Lloris should have been sentenced to jail. If it was Xhaka who had done any of those things, he would have been deported. If he was deported, though, he can take Schwinn with him.
I mean, first of all, what did Pochettino do to get this sort of comment on him? Because I didn't see anything, obviously.
The Mike Dean push last week.
Ah, of course.
I know you saw it. I literally watched it with you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought something happened yesterday. No, but yeah, you're right. If Arsene had done that, or even Mourinho had done that, they'd be banned for sure. So I'm not sure Pochettino should have been on the touchline yesterday.
There you go.
All right, next question for you, Tez, from the RC fella. Anyone else have a bad feeling before Aubameyang stepped up to take the penalty?
No, we've already pretty much touched on it. I had a bad feeling look, I can't say that I thought he was going to miss it, because I didn't think he was. It was more of a bad feeling after he missed it for me. I was just, yeah. So I've said all I've said.
All right, I'll throw you another one in that case. Again, this is a comment, but I'll sort of turn it into a question. Our defense was excellent. Only allowed 3 shots on target, including the penalty and the double save by Leno. Socrates and Koscielny are a magnificent combo. Mustafi is not worthy to wear the shirt. We need VAR soon. Thought Emery got most things right today. More performances like this, please. Well, there's no room for a question there, so I'll keep going. MAA Gunner, do you think Spurs will survive relegation once VAR is brought in?
They fucking do get away with a lot, don't they? I don't know why, but Harry Kane is a protected species. Oh, hang on. He's the England captain, that's why. Protected species.
Yeah, that's historic. It's historically been quite true, actually, now that I think about it, that England captains have been shielded a bit.
Mate, the only reason I knew that because me and Tony talked about it last week. Tony, I think I stole one of Tony's lines last week. So, but yeah, he is protected. He's fucking protected.
It seems like they're the only ones when decisions are given for that we don't question the decision, but the fucking rule. Well, never happens with anyone else. Otherwise, rules are very clear cut.
Well, Tony
when it comes to these fuckers.
Yeah, I know. Tony was saying Shearer, and I do remember Shearer getting away with a lot too, but yeah, makes sense. England captain. You go on, Tony, have you?
Right.
No, I've just... If you don't ask me a question, I won't answer one.
Oh, no, I thought if I'm talking a man up, you might fucking sit there with your fucking chest held high and tapping it or something.
No, I'm great. I don't need you to tell me. Shall I do the next question then, Steam? As apparently I've been too quiet.
Why not?
So from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot, who we heard his name mentioned earlier. Is Emery's tactical nous a boon and not a negative? I'm not sure what he means by boon. I assume it's a typo for something else, but I'm not sure what. We tactically bossed them, and if this were Wenger, without any disrespect, we may have not this.
Look, for me, it's a double-edged sword. You know, we win this game and we're all about it. We somehow managed to lose this game, and then we question why Torreira was left out, why Aubameyang was left out. So yes, his tactical flexibility is a boon. I wouldn't say his tactical nous though, because we haven't
is boon actually a word? Am I being stupid?
Yeah, I think it just means beneficial, helpful.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't go as far as to say tactical nous is a positive. I'd say his tactical flexibility can be, because all these changes, this chopping and changing, isn't necessarily paying dividends. And when that's the case, then you can't really say that it's overtly beneficial. So again, I don't want to talk about Arsene. I think to bring him into a conversation is ridiculous. It's a hypothetical that we'll never know with the current squad. So I don't want to cause any disrespect to him for after everything he's done. I think it's the present, and we should stick with what Emery is doing.
Okay, I think that's about all the questions that I can see. Is that about all you boys can see?
Well, there's a comment from Hakon that I'll read it just because you said it. It is amazing how Spurs get away with so many things on the pitch. Diving, fouls without bookings. By the way, Rose is a cunt and loves Ferreira's tackle. Xhaka on Kane as well. Brilliant.
Hakon. Love it, mate. Yeah, I think that's about it, boys. We've got a...
Can I just add... Can I just add something real quick? Because he said so many things on the pitch, but something I was shocked by yesterday was something that was happening in the stands. The amount of anti-Semitic abuse that was thrown towards Arsenal fans yesterday was an absolute joke. I heard expressions being tossed around, especially once they equalized, that just should not be allowed anywhere. Especially in sport, which sort of transcends politics and all the other whiff-waff that goes on these days in the real world. There has to be some sort of punishment. I mean, I know it's not going to happen. It doesn't happen with the management or the players involved at Tottenham, so let alone the fans. But that was properly atrocious behavior. And if I was Jewish, I'd probably be very, very hurt. As someone who's not, I felt hurt. So I could only imagine what someone who is Jewish and comes from that background would have felt yesterday.
Well, can I just add some context to that? So the league's been trying to get rid of it for ages, and Tottenham pretty much released a statement this week saying it's not meant harmfully, so we're fine with it, give or take. I'm paraphrasing massively, but when the league's made such a conscious effort and saying teams can't say this, and Tottenham fans have said, "Oh no, we're saying it in support of our own club, so it's fine," you're never going to get rid of it. So I think there's more of a responsibility on the people.
Just stop here for a minute, because I'm sitting here scratching my head. What was the tunes that they were singing, Tony, or what is it?
I mean, you barely know what a Jewish person is, so
I wouldn't have a clue. But for everybody listening, what was actually said that I'm trying to think what would be said that would.
No, I mean it's nothing. So Yids is watching football. So Yids or Yiddos is often seen as a derogatory term for Jewish people. Tottenham call themselves Yid Army or the Yiddos, and the FA for years have been trying to get, when another team says it to them, as in a piss-taking manner, trying to get rid of it and claiming racism and whatnot, which it probably is, fair enough. But as I said, Tottenham use it in support of their club. And so the FA are trying to get it out, while Tottenham are saying, it's fine.
Yeah, I've heard Yids used plenty of times, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, it was offensive. Is that what you're talking about, Schwinn? Like that type of stuff, was it?
Not quite. Look, that's the word, the Y word.
Go into detail,
word.
Because the listeners are probably sitting here like me going, what the fuck is he talking
about? Yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to throw those expressions out because it's vile. I heard some things apart from them chanting the Yid Army. In that context, the Yid word is a lot like the N word. If you are of that descent and you use it.
What's the N word? N word.
If you use the word nigger, without the hard R, then it can be used as a term. No, that's what I'm saying. If you come from that descent,
I'm confused. I'm turning off. Right, you talk.
Yeah, so I mean, if you come from that descent and you use it amongst yourselves, it's used as a term of endearment, right? And in certain contexts, it's acceptable. I'm not defending this. I'm just giving you context. So in that same word, the word yid it can be considered as endearing when used amongst those on people.
Sorry, you've also got to factor into this that the vast majority of them aren't from that culture of that religion. So it's not even being used just amongst people who are of that culture in the same way that rappers use nigger, for example.
Right. So there's that, but they've sort of had this for a while where they've sort of used it as an endearment tool. And I'm not even complaining about them chanting Yid Army, to be honest. I'll throw an expression out there that I heard a couple of times: bent Jew. That has no place for it on the football field or in the stands. That's clearly meant as offense. Yid Army, you could argue one way or the other, but calling someone a bent Jew, that's not entirely in place, I'd say. So, and I heard a couple of other ones as well. I'm not going to throw those out. I'm not going to grace this podcast with that. And we might have Jewish listeners who'll be severely hurt by that. So I was just very shocked by what I heard yesterday. I've never heard it. I've seen football in different countries, in different stadiums, home and away, and I've never come across this sort of behavior. And
well, I mean, obviously Jack, who we all know is an Arsenal fan, but is Jewish, and he hates the use of Yid or Yiddo. So it clearly does offend some people, and for me that's enough. I mean, look, there's always going to be some slightly offensive stuff said, but something that offends a whole nation. I mean, look, to put it in an example, you wouldn't say anything about colour, and it gets heavily, like, you get fines and get banned if anything's said about colour or religion with pretty much any other religion, but that is seemed acceptable. I don't really get it, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something I thought I should bring up because it wasn't in good taste, and just sort of highlights the scum that is breeding up there in that part of North London, and it was vile behaviour, I'd say.
Well, mate, fair call. If it offended you, well, that's a fair call. So I stayed well out of that conversation because I would probably just get myself in the shit. Okay, the Europa League game during the week, boys. Ren's, we're expecting a good old flogging here, or what?
I'm not saying anything after fucking the Barté game.
I know. That's why I said, we expected a good old flogging.
Yeah, I did then, and we lost 1-0. So, I mean, look, they're not team, and as we said the other day, they've had their game cancelled this week, I believe, to give them more time to prepare. So, I don't think it'll be a walkover. It's possible because they're quite attacking. So, if you go 1-0 up, you never know how they're going to fold. But it's equal. I mean, every Arsenal fan I spoke to today, including myself, feels like yesterday it was a loss. Like, one of my friends messaged me as we were recording saying he feels like he needs counselling. And if the players feel like that, that's not a great mentality to go into a game with. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do feel like that, because everyone felt shit at the end of that game yesterday, apart from Tottenham, who seemed to believe they won the game 1-1.
Mm-hmm. I think we all just felt a little bit ripped off. And you know, we've spoke here for an hour and a half. We've broke the game down, and we've talked about, but if Granite got sent off a red card, well, then we'd be down to 10 men. We could be up, lost by 3 or 4-0. And then, but at the end of the day, that didn't happen. But it comes right down to that last penalty Aubameyang missed, and it's.
This is what I'm saying. If the players feel as down or heartbroken or whatever as the fans do. So I've not come across any fans that feel particularly positive about it. You can even see by our questions that everyone's quite down. Yeah. But if the players are down about it, there might be, when I say hangover, I don't mean they've been out on the piss, but there might be a bit of a hangover about it.
No, I agree. I did see a tweet from the Arsenal account with Leno. He was basically saying, great performance, we need to keep this winning spirit up or something along them lines. So I think they're all probably trying to keep themselves up. So
hopefully, because there was a hell of a lot of positives.
Yeah, absolutely. Schwinn, Rennes, what are we expecting, mate? You got a prediction?
I mean, I don't disagree with you guys in the sense that it feels like a loss because, of course, it does with that missed penalty at the end, but I think the players will see a lot of merit in the performance and give them some optimism. Having said that, I think it's going to be a good result for us. I think I'm expecting like a 3-0 win. I know it's away from home. I know I'm expecting a clean sheet, but I don't think it's too far away from reality. And bias, of course, but I'm expecting a comfortable victory.
2-0?
3-0.
3-0, okay. I'm going to go 3-1. I still reckon won't keep clean sheet. 3-1. Okay, boys, that's about it. We will probably come back after Man United game, I'd imagine. So do you want to do a quick prediction for that one as well, Schwinn?
It's going to be tough. I want to say a 2-2 draw, but I fancy us a bit more with their injuries, so I'll say a 3-2 win.
Okay, Tony, you want to touch? You got any comment on the Man United game?
Is there a Champions League game this week? Or
Yeah, this Thursday.
No, we're Thursday.
Sorry, my Thursday.
What, Monday?
Friday, yes.
Wednesday.
Wednesday for you, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that makes things more interesting. I'd be interested to see if they sack that off, because they're almost certainly out, and they've got their squad's a bit bare as it is at the moment. Obviously, Alexis came off yesterday, Rashford came back though, so it'd be interesting to see what they do on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you think they might play a weaker team, maybe?
Yeah, I think I probably would if I don't think he will. I think I would if I was Solskjaer.
Yeah. Who are they up? They're playing. They're in a tough group,
PSG.
aren't they? PSG, yeah.
PSG, they're 2-0 down. And as I said, they've got a lot of injuries. Pogba's out suspended. So obviously he'll play against us. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. 2-0 down, a lot of injuries. Pogba suspended. It'll be interesting to see if he goes to try and win the game.
Mm-hmm.
The tie more than the game, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised they'd go for it. Are they at home?
No way.
Away. Yeah, they might go for it away.
Not sure.
Yeah.
I would sack it off, personally.
Yeah, but that's not many. 2-0. It's not many, especially
Yeah,
away.
but 2-0, no Pogba, no Lingard, no Martial, no Alexis potentially, and the way to PSG with a huge game. Look, you got the game. United is potentially season defining, maybe more so for us than them. Callum Chambers has just scored for Fulham 1-0. So the game is potentially season defining on Sunday. So if there's a game that you think you've got little chance of getting through, you've got 3 or 4 of your best players out, I'm not sure. As I said, I think I wouldn't take the piss. I wouldn't send the under 18s, but I wouldn't be looking to use a hell of a lot of energy either.
I'm thinking, what do you say, Schwinn? 3-2 to us.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go with you. I think I don't want to, but I just think it'll be a bit of an open game. I'm going to roll with 3-2 as well. Yeah, sorry, Chambers just scored. Oh, fucking hell. Come on, fuck you, Fulham, you cunts. Yes, we are recording when the Fulham game's on. Okay, boys, that'll do. Let's get out of here and we'll speak to everybody after the Man United game. Thanks, boys. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for downloading, and you can follow us on Twitter at @clockend_talk. We're on Facebook and YouTube and every other good podcast app. Thank you, good night, and see you later. Bye.
Oh.